Today, let's start a new chapter, that is chapter 14, respiration in plants. So, we know that we all breathe, isn't it? So, what for we are breathing? Because we need oxygen to oxidize the food we eat. Okay, that only gives us energy. Everyone is knowing that the energy comes from food. But how this food is giving energy? By the oxidation of food, isn't it? We need to oxidize the food, and this oxidation of food takes place where? In the cells, isn't it? So we know that we are animals and we need to eat food, but there are some organisms that can do photosynthesis and they can prepare their food, isn't it? And they store the food in the form of what in the bonds, means the energy of light they store in the food in the form of bonds, isn't it, of carbohydrates like glucose, sucrose, starch, etc. Okay, and the plants, I told that they will do photosynthesis, but there are cells that they don't do photosynthesis. Okay, that is, there are cells which are placed deeply inside the plants. Okay, and the plants which are not having what chlorophylls, etc., they won't do photosynthesis. So they also need what? Food for their life, isn't it? For living, they need food. Understood? So, like this, food has to be translocated to all non-green parts. And I told animals are what? They are heterotrophic. They need to take food from other plants or other animals, isn't it? And saprophytes, they are depending on dead and decaying matter. So, in all this, okay, food what we get or food reaches to our body should be respired, isn't it? It should be oxidized so that the energy stored in them will be released. So this happens where? Inside our cells. Okay, so cellular respiration is explaining that is the mechanism of breaking down of food materials within the cell to release energy. Then the released energy is how it is released. The energy release should be trapped also, isn't it? Otherwise it cannot be used. So that trapped energy means the released energy will be trapped in the form of ATPs. So all this process together we call it as what? Cellular respiration. Understood? And the breakdown of, that is cellular respiration, that is breakdown of complex molecules to yield energy and to store this energy in the form of ATP. Okay, so that is known as what? Cellular respiration. And this takes place in cytoplasm and in the mitochondria. Understood? Then the breaking of CC bonds of complex materials through oxidation, okay, within the cells, leading to the release of considerable amount of energy is known as what? Respiration. Already we told, isn't it? So breathing means what? It is only the physical exchange of gases. Okay, cellular respiration, it's little more complicated process. A lot of enzymes are involved and it takes place in a very long process. Understood? Now the compounds that are used or oxidized during the process of respiration is known as what? Respiratory substrates. So the common respiratory substrates are carbohydrates, but sometimes proteins, fats, okay, organic acids, etc. also can be used as the what? Respiratory substrates. Okay, then during oxidation, the energy, all the energy contained in respiratory substrate is not released. Okay, in a single step. I told already, because it is a very large process, and it involves a number of steps. Okay, and these steps are, each step is controlled by enzymes. Understood? And the released energy will be trapped in the form of ATP, so that whenever we need energy, okay, we cannot directly take energy by the oxidation of food. Okay, it will be used in the form of ATP. Means whenever we need energy, what happens? ATP will be broken down. Understood? And that gives energy. Is it clear? So in this way only our systems work. That is, we eat food or the plants prepare food. The plants need energy for what? The means their growth and all, or animals need energy for different purposes, and this energy comes from where? Food. But if the food has to be the food, if it needs to give energy, it should be what? Oxidized first, and then when they get oxidized, they release energy. This energy will be stored in the form of what? ATP. Okay, so in this way only it happens. Now, do plants breathe? Plants also require what? Oxygen for respiration, isn't it? And they release what? Carbon dioxide during their breathing. Understood? So plants, of course, they respire. They need what? Energy. So the stored food, okay, in the form of carbohydrate, they have to respire it, they have to oxidize it, so that they will get what? The energy. Okay, so plants, on the other hand, they don't have any particular organs like lungs or what? Skin. Likewise, in other animals there are different respiratory organs, isn't it? But plants don't have. So they have what? Some special organs. They have what? Some structures. Organs are not there. They are stomata or lenticels. Okay, stomata in the leaves, and lenticels are what? Lens shaped openings in the wood and all. Understood? So this plants, okay, do exchange of gases through these structures. Okay, why they don't have a particular system for respiration and all, or breathing? Because plants, they won't move, isn't it? So their energy requirement is very less. Okay, then roots, stems, and leaves respire at rates far lower than animals, isn't it? And each part of them will respire separately. Okay, then you can see that during photosynthesis, okay, number of gases are getting exchanged, isn't it? Means oxygen will be left out, and carbon dioxide will be taken. Understood? So each leaf is well adapted to take care of its own needs. That is, the presence of their stomata, okay, their position, all this helps them to what? Meet the needs of exchange of gases. And in plants, you can see that there won't be much distance, okay, to be transported. So this, that is, the cells, living cells are located near to the surface. Okay, means it is in contact with the air. And what about the wood? Then in wood also you can see that, okay, the living cells are located near to the bark. Okay, and their lenticels are there for the exchange of gases. So there is no need of what? Any particular what? Respiratory organ for them, because easily gases can get diffused. Okay, and during the photosynthesis, they produce what? Oxygen, and this oxygen can be used for what? The respiration process. Okay, and the combustion of glucose, that is oxidation of glucose, produces carbon dioxide and water. Understood? And energy will be if energy, okay, if energy is formed in a single step, it might have lost as heat. So to utilize this energy to make ATPs, okay, what mechanism is evolved, that is the strategy the plants evolved is they catabolize the glucose molecules in such a way that not all the liberated energy goes out as heat. Okay, so they oxidize the components in smaller steps. Okay, there are many steps whereby the glucose is getting converted to carbon dioxide and water, not in a single step, because uh, if it was a single step, what would have happened? Energy would have lost in the form of heat. So in small steps, okay, where the energy release can be what coupled to ATP synthesis. Understood? So this is what the respiration is taking place through a number of steps, or this is the advantage of having many steps in the process of what respiration. Understood? Then during the process of respiration, oxygen is utilized, carbon dioxide, water and energy are released as the byproducts, isn't it? Now oxygen is needed by many of the plants and animals for respiration, but there are anaerobic organisms also which can respire or which can oxidize the food materials in the absence of oxygen also, isn't it? We have learned about yeast, okay, bacteria, etc., where they do fermentation, isn't it? Now in any cases, the living means aerobic or what anaerobic, okay, there are certain enzyme machinery to partially oxidize glucose without the help of oxygen, and this breakdown of glucose to pyruvic acid without what oxygen is known as glycolysis. So this is the first step of what the respiration. Understood? Cellular respiration. Now the glycolysis was the term was originated from glycose for sugar and lysis for splitting. Okay, and the scheme, that is the pathway of breakdown of glucose to pyruvic acid, was elucidated or given by Gustav Emden, Otto Meyerhoff and J. Parnas. So only it is known as EMP pathway. So that also you have to remember. Okay, EMP pathway or glycolysis. So what is that? Who had given? Like Emden, Meyerhoff and Parnas. Okay, so after them it was named as what? EMP pathway. Okay, and in anaerobic organisms it is only the process of respiration. Okay, and this takes place where in the cytoplasm. Understood? And it is present in all the cells, whether it is aerobic or anaerobic. Okay, now here what is happening is the glucose undergoes partial oxidation to form two molecules of pyruvic acid. Okay, and in plants this glucose is derived from sucrose, isn't it? And which is the end product of photosynthesis, or from storage carbohydrate. What is the storage form of carbohydrate? That is starch. Okay, so sucrose will be first converted to glucose and fructose by the enzyme invertase. So which enzyme helps in the conversion of glucose into sucrose into glucose and fructose? By invertase. Okay, and they are now ready for entering into what the um, glycolysis pathway. Okay, so let's see how it happens. First you can see the what flow chart given here. Okay, this you have to learn. Glucose or fructose, first it will be phosphorylated, means one phosphate group will be added. Okay, and this is known as what? This is with the expenditure of one molecule of ATP, means one ATP will be utilized and glucose will be getting converted to glucose 6 phosphate. Understood? And the enzyme needed here is hexokinase. Hexokinase, how you will remember? See, glucose is a hexose, isn't it? 6 carbon sugar. So, hexokinases are enzymes which are helping in the phosphorylation of hexokinase. Understood? Then, the phosphorylated form of glucose then produce what? Fructose 6 phosphate. Okay? And then the various steps, okay, are like this. That is, what happens is fructose 6-phosphate will be again phosphorylated to form fructose 1,6-biphosphate. Okay, and you can see that there also one molecule of ATP is utilized. Now, fructose 1,6-biphosphate, okay, will be splitted into what? Triose phosphate, okay, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. What is it? Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, and that can be getting converted to its isomer, that is DHAP, dihydroxyacetone phosphate. Okay, so what happened? Fructose 1,6-biphosphate will get split into what? A 3-carbon molecule. What is that? Triose, that is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Understood? Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and what? Dihydroxyacetone. Okay, and you can see that there one molecule of NADPH is formed. NADH. Okay, that is NAD plus will be what? Reduced, okay, to NADH. Understood? And then what happens? This 1,3-biphosphoglyceric acid will form from what? That is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate will get converted to what? 1,3-biphosphoglyceric acid. Understood? And this process gives what? One molecule of NAD. I already told you now. Okay. Now what happens? That is, two redox equivalents are removed in the form of two hydrogen atoms, okay, from PGAL and transferred to a molecules of NAD plus, and that results in what? The reduction of NAD to NADH. Now, the conversion of DPGA. What is that? DPGA, that is phosphoglyceric acid, 3-phosphoglyceric acid. Okay, 2, that is 3-PG, the conversion of DPGA to 3-phosphoglyceric acid is also an energy requiring process. Here you can see one molecule of ATP is formed. Understood? Clear? That is 1,3-biphosphoglyceric acid will get converted to what? 3-phosphoglyceric acid, and there also one ATP is formed. Then 3-phosphoglyceric acid is getting converted to 2-phosphoglyceric acid. Understood? And then what happened? This will get converted to phosphoenol pyruvate by the elimination of one molecule of water, and then the phosphoenol pyruvic acid will get converted to what? Pyruvic acid. There also what happened? One molecule of ATP is formed. Understood? So this is what? Now you can see one molecule of glucose is getting converted to how many molecules of pyruvic acid? 2 molecules of pyruvic acid, and there you can see 2 ATPs are utilized, isn't it, in the first processes. They are utilized here, and you can see one molecule of NADH is formed, and then 2 ATP molecules are also formed. So this is what, how glycolysis happens. So what is glycolysis? Conversion of one molecule of glucose into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid is called what? The glycolysis. Okay. Then there are 3 major ways in which the different cells use the pyruvic acid now. They can be lactic acid fermentation, alcoholic fermentation, or aerobic respiration. Isn't it? That means the pyruvic acid formed can be entered into any of this pathway. Okay. And fermentation takes place under anaerobic conditions in many prokaryotes and unicellular eukaryotes, where what happened? It will get converted to, pyruvic acid will get converted to ethyl alcohol and, okay, carbon dioxide. But in complete oxidation of glucose, pyruvic acid, okay, will produce what? Carbon dioxide and water. Okay. So like this, what different pathways pyruvic acid can enter. So hope this is very clear how glucose will get converted to glucose 6 phosphate, then fructose 6 phosphate. Okay, then fructose 6 phosphate will be converted to what? Fructose 1,6 biphosphate. It will get split into 3 phosphoglyceraldehyde and DHAP. Okay, then 3 phosphoglyceraldehyde will get converted to 1,3 biphosphoglyceric acid. Okay, that then what happened? It will get converted to 3 phosphoglyceric acid, then it will get converted to 2 phosphoglyceric acid. Okay, then what happens? Phosphoglyceric acid will get converted to what? 2 phosphoglyceric acid will get converted to phosphoenol pyruvate, and finally it will be getting converted to pyruvic acid. Okay, so this is the pathway of glycolysis. Hope this is very clear. Let's continue in the next class.